Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the That Scuffed Up podcast. Might be wondering why Justin's not introducing us. I don't know either, but we are here. Stephen Hayden here, kicking us off here. We got Justin Lee, the co-host, off here as well. And with us today, we got a special guest coming off a great run in Arizona. A couple of dominating performances in this last Arizona BLW tournament. 2023 champion with the Eastern Extreme, college pitcher as well. We got Mr. Brody Livingston here with us. Brody, welcome in.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys.
No problem. Good to have you on. Our first out-of-state guest as well. It's the first time we ever had someone not from California on here. Brody, big time player in Arizona. Although, if I'm not mistaken, you're not in Arizona at the moment, correct?
Correct. I'm in Missouri right now.
Sounds good. Well, welcome on. Appreciate you coming on to join us. Justin, how are you doing today?
Doing good. Times are good. School's winding down. It's my favorite time of the year now because we're right around Christmas. I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. If you guys did, still recovering because it's a lot of food, and that's when you need to go outside and start jogging a little bit to get the calories burned in type of thing. But other than that, everything's chilling.
Sounds good. We're getting to that time. We can finally feels good to actually think about winter and Christmas time and stuff. If you're one of those weirdos that celebrates it as soon as Halloween ends, you're just a weirdo. I'm sorry. It just is what it is. That's
Costco.
It's just my personal opinion. But but anyways, let's get right into this with Brody. You're coming off a great last Arizona tournament. You hit the ball extremely well. You pitched extremely well, and given the ace role for that Pandas role for the Pandas this time, this last tournament, how did you feel overall, just going into this and just playing in general?
I'm at the plate this year. I felt throughout the entire year of 2024, I felt better, more confident. I told myself coming into this year just to kind of have more fun with it. I was putting a little bit too much stress on myself to hit the ball as hard as I can, and I don't really need to do that. I just need to put the ball in play and have some fun with it. Really, same thing with pitching. Pitching's kind of always been like my strong suit for wiffle ball, and before that tournament, I took the whole week off from throwing, so my arm felt good. Everything felt good. That's why I was able to go as many innings, to be honest.
Let's talk before we get to the actual gameplay. Let's look at the switch and roll for you, because the first Arizona tournament and even the mock tournament from this year when you were out there, you were more of the pool play pitcher, and when you got guys like Carson Rose and Jackson Bellamy who can throw. That's always nice as well. But what kind of caused this switch for you to be in that ace role for those final two games compared to the previous ones?
To be honest, it's a little bit of a mix of things. So I told Logan coming into it, I don't really care what my role is. I'll buy into whatever role he gives me. And if that means I'm pitching the championship game or a pool play game, same thing. Get the job done, get the win, and move on. But then also we had Blum's been struggling a little bit. I think he would even tell you that. But between him struggling a little bit and then Carson hasn't been able to throw as much, and then I think he's actually recovering from an arm injury, so I've kind of just taken up the reins of, I guess, being the ace, if you'd like to call it that.
Gotcha. Yeah, I did not know about the Carson Rose injury thing. That's gotcha. Let's get into that first semifinal there for you. You get into that matchup with the likes of the Phoenix, who it's a team full of guys who just made it to the Final Four on their respective teams at UWIFs this year. In the likes of a Mike Toohey, Brian DiNapoli, and Randy Dalby, and Jonathan Dalby, and Dan Havity as well. What were your thoughts kind of going into a matchup like that with a lot of top veterans and top players, with you trying to face them on the mound?
Well, I faced Toohey and both the Dalbys quite a bit. I've never faced Havs or DiNapoli, but going into it, I have a lot of respect for those guys, but at the same time, task is to get the win. So I mean, just kind of one batter at a time, one pitch at a time. Each pitch, treat it like its own game and win that game, and then move on. So I mean, that lineup, top to bottom, again, like I said, a lot of respect. Even Jonathan didn't play in either one of those games, and I mean, he's legit. So yeah, just taking it one pitch at a time, taking it slow.
Yeah, and then on the other side, you got to go against a guy like Dan Haverty, who's always just an extremely hard thrower, and finally, I believe you get to the sixth inning, and you end up ending that game and walking it off for your team. Just kind of run us through that moment. I'll try to see if I can get the clip for Justin to play in the video somewhere. But kind of just take us through that moment and just what all was going through to be able to send the Pandas through.
Yeah. So I mean, leading up to that, so he was throwing a lot of sliders, a lot of like screwball, and I mean they're coming in really really quick. So you got to be quick to it. And he was really like feeding me a lot of sliders. I was fouling him off, and then he would set a screwball low, and I kept chasing it. I mean, first pitch he started me off with a screwball. I swung and I missed, and then he just left one up. Hit it to left center. I've always had like a nice feel for the pitches upstairs. So I mean, I don't know. The thing that people don't see, I mean, the only thing people will see, I guess, is that home run. But what they won't see are the strikeouts that he had on me on just 3 pitches that were like second. But it's one pitch, and that's what fast pitch football is all about. And I'm happy I was able to come through there.
Yeah, that's usually what it comes down to is one swing. We'll get into it later. We'll get into with the Blue Giants and how that happened. But you guys end up being able to get through, and you end up having to face a tough matchup there with the Saguaros, who are not only fighting just to win that tournament, but fighting just to make it in Dallas in general. Just kind of get us through that whole game in general. You're still pitching on the mound and got to go against a previous national pitcher of the year in Cooper Ruckle. Just kind of run us through that for you.
Right. So same kind of deal with the Phoenix. I actually really haven't faced anybody really on that team. I think the only two, that was my first time facing all of those guys. I mean, I didn't really know what pitches they were to swing at and what they were going to take. So that first inning, I was kind of just experimenting, just trying to figure out, how to work these guys. I try to remember every at bat that I do against a hitter and remember what pitches they chase, what ones they don't. So I mean, yeah, same thing with them, just working on one at a time. Those guys all have a lot more experience than I do. So, I mean, I think it also helps for both the Phoenix and the Saguaros that they haven't seen me before. I'm a relatively new fast. So I think that just helps out a lot more than people want to give me credit for, I guess, or give credit. So I chalk a lot of that up to just them not seeing me before. So I think they see me 4 or 5 times. It's different, but we'll take the win.
Absolutely, you will take the win. And it's one of those. It's one you should go out there and just go do it. I mean, that's another group of guys mixed up and brought together that were a lot of previous final 8 teams and things like that. Or in Cooper Ruckle's case, a few years ago, him and his Canes made it to the Final Four and stuff. So, I mean, you're going against a lot of tough competition and everything as well. You talked about being relatively new. What's your how did you really get into this competitive wiffle ball scene, or just playing wiffle ball in general?
Yeah, so I've actually been playing, I guess I've been, throwing the wiffle ball and playing a lot of wiffle ball with my brothers. We started back in 2017, and I broke, and then I started up my own league with my buddies just because I wanted something to do, and then, it turned into 2020 when the pandemic hit. Logan Rose, who he's the commissioner of BLW, obviously, he decided to host a tournament, and we went there for the first time, and then I just started going every year. Got better and better, and by 2022 I joined BLW, and then 23 was my first big barrel fast pitch true tournament. I played with the Pharaohs,
Yep.
It did not go well. My first introduction to fast pitch, I hit okay. Pitch really, really tough. And then this past year, I really took like a big step into wanting to learn how to practice fast pitch and how to do everything right. Got my own bat, learned how to cut balls, the whole 9 yards.
Yep. Exactly. And if I understand as well, you're also you're currently playing college baseball as well.
I am. Yeah.
Where are you at for that? What school are you at for that?
So I'm at Paradise Valley Community College. It's a JUCO, like right by my house in North Phoenix. So yeah, I've been doing that, and then after this year, I plan on moving out here to Missouri, and that'll get me even closer to more wiffle and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, the big one in Missouri is Mo-Whiff out there, with a lot of the top Missouri guys playing out there. Is that something you're possibly looking to go join when you fully move out there?
So me and Bryson already registered for the draft in Mo-Whiff.
Okay.
We also were connected to other leagues. So we're talking to a couple other teams, and we both want to try and make our runs at UF next year, and then just spread it, I guess.
Absolutely. Might as well. Might as well if you're gonna be out there, might as well just get into that scene. There's a lot of great fast pitch going on there as well. You got the guys like Cam Smith. You got the Skibby brothers. I think maybe Connor Jaso has been out there at times. Just all that would be a great scene for you to continue to keep getting better and better. I'll bring it back. I'll bring it back here to the last Arizona tournament. Just that last moment. You guys are in extra innings. You and Cooper Ruckle are dealing, and then all of a sudden Jackson Blum steps up to the plate and ends it for you guys to win your first fast pitch tournament. I don't know if it was ever, but at least for out of these Arizona tournaments, what was the what was the moment like for you guys for you to have someone like Jackson Blum step up and do that?
Yeah, so I've been telling Jackson all day. I've been telling him all year, really. I'm like, dude, you're a good hitter. Like, I know people really think about his pitching, but if you look and you play with Jackson a lot, he hits the ball pretty consistently, and I mean, he doesn't hit the ball over the fence as much, but he's pretty consistent. You can tell when he's due, and he was definitely due. So I mean, I think in the clip somewhere, I'm like, I told you, Jackson. Like, I told you. So I mean, it was a great moment for sure. I think that was me and all the Roses' first win for fast pitch. That was pretty cool. I'm excited with that team. I think we have a pretty high ceiling. I think we showed that, proved it. I'm pretty excited. I wouldn't have wanted to do it with a different group of guys.
Absolutely, it was it was definitely a shocking ending to see Jackson end that and everything. Talk about. I mean, now looking ahead for you guys. You guys end up winning that tournament. You guys end up getting the most points there in this group of tournaments, which was what it was kind of all building up for this big trip to Dallas. You guys going as the 1 seed. What are your how cool or how exciting is that for you to be able to really your second year in playing competitive football, and you're going to play in AT&T Stadium?
I mean, super cool. We're all really thrilled. We're all insanely excited, and the only thing I will say is, job's not finished, so we're going in kind of with that mama mentality. We're a bunch of younger guys. I mean, I think the average age in our team is like 17 and a half or something like that. So we're kind of going in. I know it's easy for us to get overwhelmed and pretty excited about it, but we've all done it before. Especially like winning that last tournament. It's nice now that we have that under our belt. We know what it feels like to win, and we definitely know what it feels like to lose. So we know what it takes to like get the job done. So as long as we just come in like calm, cool, collected, I think we can get the job done.
Absolutely. There's a tough four teams out there. Obviously, there's you you have the Naturals with their loaded team. You got the Thrashers who with Jordan Bonet on the mound, they always have a shot. And then of course your first matchup out there will be versus the Phoenix again. With that kind of team, what do you kind of what do you kind of expecting or kind of hoping for you guys? Being this young of a group. What's kind of the expectation of the goals going into a venue in the final tournament there like Dallas?
Obviously, like the first goal is to win, but at the same time, it is insanely cool. It's not every day you get to go play in an NFL stadium, especially one like AT&T. So definitely gonna enjoy it, have fun. Be young kids who are gonna go explore Dallas. So yeah, first goal is to win the thing, but I think just having fun and being ourselves, doing our thing is just as important.
Absolutely. Sorry, Justin. I don't mean to keep going on for so long. If you got anything you want to interject with, feel free.
I don't have a whole lot of points here.
All right.
It is cool to be able to play in an NFL stadium, let alone like if you're gonna go play there, you might as well go throw a football around in that field too. Kick a field goal if you feel like not a lot of people can say they can play on an NFL field, so that's pretty cool to be able to do that, let alone play in it. So yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. I'll take a little back. Kind of an overlook at all these Arizona tournaments for this year. This past tournament had, obviously, you guys have been knocking on the door. You guys have been in the semifinals the previous two tournaments, and then this one you guys were able to come out on top. How was the overall feeling for you guys? Just especially with guys like Logan, or trying to organize all of this. How was the overall feeling for you, in playing in all of these and playing in some extra ones that they hadn't had in the previous years?
I'd been saying for years. I had talked to him about it. I was like, dude, we need to get more than one out here. The amount of people who would show up for just the one. It was awesome, and I think he knew that at some point we needed to expand it a little bit. And I think he did a good job, especially for his first year doing multiple. I think it'll only get better with time. I think the locations were really cool, and he's talked to me about what possible locations could be for next year, and it's definitely a step forward. I'll definitely be on my way out here for those next year, regardless where I'm at. But I helped set him up with that, with field work and stuff like that. And even doing that, that's cool. You get excited just to play.
Yeah, absolutely. Setting up on some of these spring training fields is just just a cool feeling just to be out there in general, but then to be part of that group and helping setting up that must be an extremely cool feeling for you and the Roses and everything like that as well. Well, let's take it back to that very first tournament for this year, because we actually matched up and played against each other in the semifinals when we had. When it was the SoCal group, and we talked about the first time, and you were kind of the center of a very long and controversial call over there that took way longer than it needed to. If you can just because I apparently I still don't know everything that happened. Just kind of run me through what you saw, what happened. It happened if you can remember back that far.
Okay, so Sawyer was pitching and I was hitting. Obviously, when I swing, because I have the goggles on, right? So when I swing, well, first off, I'm looking down at the ball, and I don't really take my head off the ball until it lands, sort of. But I swung so hard because Sawyer's throwing the ball so hard that I have to I got to speed up my swing, right? So I swing and I hit it with some side spin, so it spun towards the left field line, and I like barely like I tried to look up and see where it was, and my goggles were like moving around, and I completely lost track of the ball. Like I saw it land in the general direction. At first, I was like, okay, like that looks like really like on the line, and I was like, maybe that's just fair. Like based off Dustin's like immediate reaction, he was like, oh no, like that might be fair, and then everybody else was like, no, that was foul, and I didn't have a good enough eye on it, and I don't like. I was just kind of like, Sawyer, what do you want to call it? Like, you're the pitcher, you can call that. Like, I'm not. I wasn't in like the right headspace to make that call, and I didn't want to like affect it. And he was like, I didn't really get like a great look at it either. So we both like after 25 minutes or whatever it was of like bickering back and forth, talking about physics, going over camera shots. You know, we had like 4 different cameras, and of course, like we had like a ton of them pointed on the line, and of course there was like either like a shadow or like something that like made the call look one way. And then we were talking to parents, and then there was just, a whole thing. And then we were both just like, you want to just rock, paper, scissors for it? Like, at this point, the game will be over by now, right? So, like,
yeah,
as well just, like, rock, paper, scissors for it, and whoever the call, like, who cares? And, I mean, the outcome of the game, like, it wouldn't have really changed all that much, Like, you guys put up 4. We ended up not, like, really threatening again. I think we maybe had 2 other base runners, so not really any damage done from that call. But my whole thing with it is there's no reason it should have taken 30 minutes or however long it took. And we all talked about that after, like, we're not going to have that happen again. Like, it was just bad looks. And I think Tommy said it. We were the 2 youngest teams there, and that's just not good for the tournament for us and everything like that.
Yeah, the only good thing that came out for me was I had a chance to talk to the guy that's taking all the pictures and videos and stuff like that. I talked to him for like 15 minutes during that. Yeah, I think I might have said on the previous one as well that whole situation was just it was a little embarrassing for both sides. It's something that I don't want to see happen again. Especially with me, I mean, I think I'm the oldest person out of that in that game and things like that. I personally did not want to be involved in anything at all, and it was just a nightmare running between cameras and checking different angles and asking different people. I was like, what are we doing? Like, let's just have something be made and just go from there. But it was it was just an overall an overall mess, man. It was just. It was what it was. I mean, I don't really know where to go from there because overall it was just not a great sight. So, but yeah, I mean, it was. It might have been the most interesting moment I've had in wiffle ball this year, or at least the most excruciating, just time wise and things like that. But let's. Excuse me.
Bless you.
No. Thanks. This guy. Yes. So along with these other Arizona tournaments, you also came out to one of the Upland tournaments as well this year. I can't remember. Was that your first time out to Upland, or had you been out there before?
So that was actually my first out-of-state tournament, which was a really cool experience, by the way. It was really well run. Just meeting all those like other West Coast guys was really cool. That was also my first tournament with the BLW guys, so we didn't really have a whole lot of chemistry. But yeah, that was my first time out there.
Okay, gotcha. I didn't realize that was your first fast pitch tournament with them. Oh yeah, that's right. Because the previous year you had played with the Pharaohs and things like that. So you kind of talked about your experience with that a little bit. And once I think we even did play each other out there again as well. I think Jackson was pitching this time, but as you continue to do more and more of these tournaments and stuff, and especially if you're going to be out there in Missouri and things like that, how do you like it, like compared to like all the baseball tournaments and things that go on or that you do? How do you how do you find this wiffle ball stuff to be like compared to that?
I think it's awesome. So I'm a very different like mannered baseball player, I guess. Like I'm pretty quiet. I just kind of I do my thing. I'm a PO, so I pitch in the games that I'm required to pitch in, and I my teammates and I do all that. But then well, like my true passion, I feel like comes out with talking to people, and I feel like I'm more like I'm more extroverted with it, and I enjoy like being around other people who like for the lack of better terms, we're all nerds, to be honest. We all play with, so it's fun to have other people who enjoy the same things as me. So I definitely enjoy it a little more than baseball tournaments, because it got to the point where you go to so many baseball tournaments, it's just kind of like the same thing over and over. You don't know what you're getting for wiffle ball. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, things can be very different out there on the field and things like that. We'll take it back even a little bit further for you. Obviously you mentioned you started playing in these tournaments, and then in 2022 you joined the BLW League. How has that experience been for you so far with these first 2 or 3 years that you've been playing?
It's been great. Like I went from not knowing anybody else who even thought of playing football. I didn't know about fast pitch. I didn't know about any of this cool stuff, all the cool opportunities, until I joined BLW, and I joined like with no experience at all, and just kind of went around doing my thing. Got better, and then now I feel like I'm like at that point where I'm teaching other people how to play, and they're figuring out like what stuff is for the first time. And it's been like a great experience, making all the connections with people in the league, out of the league, like it's been great. That was probably the weirdest thing that I've had, when people like have came up to me and they're like, I know who you are. Like that was an eye-opening experience for me. And it was definitely really cool to be like, yeah, like I can help you like throw these pitches or other things like that,
Absolutely, and it's weird. It's weird to see how things turn around like that. And obviously in the BLW League, you won that World Series in 2023, and in absolutely dominant fashion. I think you pretty much pitched about every inning, and it just overall it was a big show, and that even for me that was eye opening. Just kind of seeing that, I was like, I was really getting an understanding of who you are and everything like that. How did that season feel that ending and stuff? And if I'm not mistaken, I think you did it with one of your younger brothers as well on the team.
Yeah, so I did it with my youngest brother Barrett, who was 10 at the time. I want to say, yeah, 10. So since joining the league, I think I've pitched about every inning, minus maybe like 5 or 6 total innings. So I've pretty much kind of taken the reins. There's no pitching limits in BLW, because there's not enough spread out pitching on each team to where we can do like, you get a ton of innings and then you're done. We've talked about that, but nothing quite yet. But yeah, winning that with Barrett, and winning, that was my first ever like true win in wiffle ball. I never like won a championship or anything, so that was my first time like really feeling like, wow, like I can get this off my chest. Like I know what it feels like to actually like be first place in wiffle ball. Like that's when my like desire to, I guess, win everything that I can started, was winning that right there.
Yeah, that was insane to follow along with, and just I kind of like me personally, I kind of first started watching kind of during that postseason. Almost, I kind of started watching a little bit because Jackson Blum had been drafted in there, and I would see the occasional stuff of him, and then just watching more of the postseason and stuff. I was like, there's something about there's something about this lefty pitcher here for the extreme leading this team to to that World Series and things like that. Something just looks special there. And it was fun to watch overall as an outside viewer to be able to see you do that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Let's you talked about last year was your first time doing fast pitch, and you joined the Pharaohs with Logan Christie and Tom Gannon. From that moment, from that first game, I think you actually, I believe we matched up again in the quarterfinals. Going from that point to where you are now, how different are you, or how much better do you feel about like yourself in the game of wiffle ball, like now compared to like when you were first stepping into the fast pitch realm?
If I'm being honest, night and day. I kind of went in to fast pitch. I was a very late add to that Pharaohs roster because I didn't know if I was actually going to be able to make the tournament or not. Originally, I was going to do it with me and my brother, a couple of our buddies, and then we backed out. And then I was kind of like, oh, but I want to do it, but I don't want to join a team last minute. And then Logan gave me Chrissy's number, so I texted him, and we talked back and forth, got me on the team. And I kind of just went in like I didn't know how to swing like any of the big barrel bats. I'd only ever swung the yellow bat, so I was like, I'll go buy a blitz ball bat, put it up, and go from there. And I guess like we'll see how I do. I hit okay. Once I saw anything over 85, though, like I wasn't gonna hit it. It didn't matter how. I think I ended up I hit a home run off Sawyer, and I'm gonna be honest, like flat out, like he could have thrown me anything over 80, 83, I guess. I was just gonna take it, but he gave me like a slower fastball, I guess, and hit it out. But pitching wise, I had like 3 pitches. I had like a slider, riser, and screwball, but I couldn't command it with velo, so I was just kind of like, let's just, I guess, throw strikes, and I got clobbered by you guys. I remember that. It was like 5 runs in like a third of an inning, so my introduction to true fast pitch pitching was a little shocking, and I've thrown probably like 100 fast pitch bullpens since then, so I got
Yeah. No. Yes. Yeah. Seeing you that first time, I think I've only faced you on one of her at bat, and I think it was a walk. I didn't get a chance to try to hit off you, but seeing the difference. I was watching that video again, just a little refreshing. Seeing the difference between you then and you now, just in a year, is quite staggering. Especially just to see you go from that. You didn't pitch bad against. You didn't even pitch bad against us. It's just we were. I think at that point we were just locked in and we were ready. But then to see you go from that to where you are now, beating a multitude of guys who have made it to the final 8 in the United Wiffle Championships is quite an impressive feat. Something that you don't see very often with a guy growing that quickly or that much. So I just want to commend you for that as well.
So much. It means a lot.
As we continue on here, obviously you mentioned you're moving to Missouri, looking to join Mo with, how much, what do you see kind of going for you or going for the teams and stuff like that in terms of playing wiffle ball as we move on here into the future, in the next 5 years or so.
All right, so my goal is to join probably 2 leagues out here. I think it's almost cemented that I join 2 leagues out here, and then my goal is to try and make my way towards MLW. I would like to try and be an MLW by 2026, latest 2027. I'm committed enough to drive up there, drive back, do whatever needs to take. I enjoy playing, and I want to be the best that I can be. And in my mind, I always set high expectations. I always make like a goal list at the beginning of the year, and I have like what I want my stats to look like, what benchmarks that I want to hit. And benchmark for me, like for wiffle ball, is I want to be at some point in my career, I want to be in the top 5. And I think I'm on track, but I need to put a little bit more work off the field and certainly on the field to where I can get there and just continue on. I'm young, which is a gift that doesn't stay, so I need to just keep pushing while I have it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're. I'm forgetting right now. How old are you at the moment?
I'm 20. I turned 21 in June.
God, you guys are young. We're Justin and I were sitting here at 26, being like, "Oh man, we're the body's getting tight over here." It is what it is. I absolutely can see a bright future for you. And if that, I mean, especially with you moving to Missouri, if that MLW thing can work, I can see you having a lot of success in there, and you even got a chance to meet some of those guys at the at that first fest. But obviously, you met Story twice, and then you got to meet guys like Dallas Allen and Jackson Pearson and like Preston Colm, all of that. So good to be able to get your name out there and look at that as a potential option in the future for you as well.
Absolutely.
Justin, you got anything you wanna add on in here? Sorry, I've kind of taken up all the time.
No, it's totally okay. I have a list of questions actually. Because
go for it.
I mean, it's cool. Like I'm a spectator. Like listening to all these people. Like you mentioned, like how listening to the nerds. Like literally, this whole podcast is about talking with people who are wiffle ball nerds, like listening to every single little detail, especially going out to tournaments and listening to like things that they say, like, oh my god, I got this bat, it has this material, this ball is scuffed like this way, and you have to use this type of knife. It's like whoa, hold on, give me a minute here, because I'm like, for me, like I've been dragged into this world because of Steven, so it's kind of like.
All right. This guy
dragged, not actually dragged into it, but willingly. Trust me, it's a fun world to be a part of, to see everything and listening to exactly like what your goals are and what you want to do in the future. Like that's like really cool. Like, 'cause what you're in Missouri right now, is that right?
Yeah.
And you're trying to join a bunch of leagues. Like my commitment level is not there right now because I'm trying to do a lot of other stuff. But like seeing everybody do what they do and how they do the wiffle ball stuff is cool. And that's why we love having people. And that's why it's also cool that we have a guy who's out of state being on this podcast, which means our reach is starting to get out a little bit more. Because Steven mentioned that people from Arizona are listening to this. And I'm like, really? So
not the same thing.
Yeah, that's still pretty cool. And by the way, you look like... Ain't gonna lie, like you look like you're like 25. Like you look like you're right around our age, but I think it's because of the mustache and the hair and everything.
Oh, it's the facial hair.
Yeah.
I just got being able to grow this young.
There you go. We have a few guys in our other wiffle ball league who look like they're like 20. No, they look like they're 19, but they actually look like they're actually like 23 or something. So it's like the other way around. But yeah, it's always the facial hair, right? Like I had a mustache. If you've seen the episodes before this, like. Look like I was like 28. Now look like I'm like 19 type of thing. Asian don't raisin type of thing. Well, it's cool. Your stat line is ridiculous though. Like, cause you were mentioning like this past Arizona tournament, like what was it, 12 scoreless innings, walk-off home run in the semis. Like that's a crazy ordeal there. I actually wanted to ask you this question because I know Steven is kind of like this as well, because you two are both college pitchers and you guys also do this wiffle ball stuff like almost as a daily living type of thing. So how do you tell somebody who is a pitcher, right? How do you tell someone who's a college pitcher and who wants to do wiffle ball stuff? How do you balance the two in your life and be careful, because obviously now you guys are throwing up into like high speeds, like 80s, 90s, 100s. That must be a trip for your elbow to like deal with every single week in, week out.
Absolutely. I mean, I would say it's important to like balance. You gotta know how your arm feels. Like I don't know, like there will be some days where you're like, oh, I feel good, but then you gotta realize like, oh, like if I threw a bullpen in baseball like days ago, maybe it's not the best interest for me to throw right now. Like even if your arm's like telling you, oh, like I could do this, I would always lean on the side of caution when it comes to that because you don't want to have to go explain to your pitching coach or anything in baseball like, oh, I hurt my elbow, and they're gonna be like, why? I was pitching wiffle ball. Like then you're gonna have some problems. But I'd say just balancing it out. Making sure that you can truly go. I always schedule out my bullpens. I'm very diligent about that. That way I don't hurt my arm. Um, and I mean, days that I'm not pitching, I get to work with the stick, and always got to keep the swing in tune, and everything's got to be able to go. Because I don't want to be a PO for wiffle ball. I know that's kind of a new thing that I'm starting to see with people. They take people and they're only pitchers. That's not going to be me. I'm going to pitch and I'm going to hit. I feel like I'm good enough to do both, and I want to do both. So I don't know. That's just kind of my thing, I guess. It's definitely a little bit harder to balance it out, though, being a pitcher rather than being a position player. But yeah, just be careful with it. Take your time. No need to rush, really.
Fair enough, because Steven always comes in like with a busted arm. It seems like when it comes to some of these tournaments, and I'm like, dude, how is your elbow not falling off yet? Type of thing. But he's been able to balance it, which is pretty good. So for a guy like that, and then listening to your point of view, because obviously you two are kind of the same, except you're a lefty, he's a righty, different ordeal. Do you find it different in terms of being a lefty pitcher compared to a lot of guys who are righties? Because for us, I don't know if Steven has the same point of view, but lefty pitchers seem to be more of an issue for most general batters because most of them are righties in wiffle ball. Do you find it like tougher for yourself as a lefty pitcher when it comes to just, I don't know, facing off batters in general?
No, I actually think it might be a little bit easier being a lefty. And I know the lefties that I've seen don't typically throw as hard as I've been throwing. So I think that also kind of helps, just being able to throw it a little bit firmer and have. So I'm more of like a short arm kind of pitcher. So I think it's a little bit of like a different arm angle, a different look. So I think that really helps me out quite a bit. And I've never really had like the ability to like put crazy insane movement on the ball until, I mean, I still wouldn't even say it's insane. I'd say it's like it's just good movement until probably about this year. So I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's just kind of depending on what the hitters are looking for. If you truly have like a really good hitter, like a Mike Toohey, or a Randy Dalby, those are probably the two best hitters I know.
Yeah.
I mean, they're gonna. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what arm slot it's coming from. They just have so much experience that if you leave it up, it's gone.
Yeah, Steven and I both have had that experience, and not in the fun way, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially the upland tournaments. That's usually where they do get us. But Steven has been fortunate enough to actually get a few good pops off of Tui, which is kind of crazy. But that just kind of tells you how much he takes this game in and is able to train for it. So that's a whole other thing. About the upland tournaments, because we like constructive criticism here. Like we like to hear that type of stuff. But like you talked about how well the tournaments were run. What did you like about the tournament structure, and what did you not like about the tournament structure? Or like how was the playing experience overall being out there?
Okay, so I thought that both the Arizona tournaments and both the Upland tournament were both run really well. They were run a little bit differently, but it's good because I like the change. I like having different rules. I like having everything. The reason I like the Arizona rules is because I've been playing with those rules for a little bit longer.
Right.
The reason I like the Upland rules is because they're more UWIF standard, like pitching with one ball. Like you don't get to switch. You don't get multiple. Like I really like that rule. Wild pitches, that's a first. Double plays, fielding rules. The reason that's in Arizona now is because of the Upland tournament. So stuff like that, definitely nice to have. Because I didn't know about like throwing to the backstop or anything until then. So I mean, I was awful at it. I'm still not great at it, but we're getting better. We're getting better.
Yeah, it's a tough one, especially when you have the tag up rule where you have to throw from the outfield to the net. I can't reach that far. Other people can do it. It's a tough thing to do. And you talked about how the adjustments were made to like Arizona, like you guys are adopting those rules. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Like SoCal Whiff has also kind of done that. I think it's a good thing for a lot of the leagues because it kind of gives a unifying type of set of rules to be able to play with. I think that's a good thing, especially if like, I don't know if your goals include playing in the U.S. tournament, like the championship at some point. I'm sure it is, which is a great thing because Steven's been fortunate enough to do it twice. But it does help for people who want to get into those tournaments and go to such a big world like international type of tournament. International because there's only a few teams that are international that go to those tournaments, but it's still pretty cool that there's other countries that participate. But it is a good thing, I think, with the rules being there and being adopted by other leagues to be able to like, hey, maybe I can go play at UWIFs type of thing. Like, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, not only like with the rules being there, but the people who go to those Upland tournaments are legit. Like the worst player at the Upland tournament would be the best player on some of these teams that come out to like, local tournaments and, stuff like that. So, I mean, reaching out, talking to those guys, I consider most of those guys who I've talked to out there to be like mentors, a lot of the reason I've gotten good this quick is from their experience. I've become like a master thief and I just take everybody else's knowledge, I accumulate it and I turn it into my own game, I guess. So I think that's why not even just me, like everybody on the Pandas, that's why we got good so quick is we have all this extensive knowledge from them doing U17 twice and being to all these tournaments and then meeting all these people, and going to these tournaments, seeing all these rules, it really helped us all out.
Yeah, that's a great. I mean, the insight that you get from that and the knowledge that you get, I think that's another thing that Steven has mentioned a bunch of times on the show when he goes to other tournaments. Like, there's so many people who are willing to give you that knowledge, and even then, if it doesn't seem like they're willing to, then you just watch them and they do their thing, and then you kind of adopt that in that sense. This is a side note. Do you like the grass at the Upland tournaments?
Oh my goodness, that thing is killer. That thing that I was just like, oh my goodness. Thankfully, I didn't get hit around that day, but we had so many, and I felt terrible, but we had so many times where you would beat a ball into the ground and it would just stop, and it's a single. And we were like, oh my goodness. Like, I think me, Carson, and somebody else, we went back to back to back singles that didn't even make it, like, to the pitcher, and I mean, they're all getting frustrated. They're like, come on. And we're like, we're sorry. Like, this is our first time. So,
yeah, those are...
Yeah, that's just the playing field, though. You get used to it.
Yeah, those are one of those, like, funny elements that we always mention about the Upland tournaments. Like, that's like everything else is super cool. The nets are cool. The format is cool. And then the grass is like, oh, the ball is going to hit here. And then it dies. And you're like, oh, dang, we're going to deal with this.
Ugh. Brutal.
It's a fun. It brings another fun element to it. Unless you're the guy who's defending against it or who is the pitcher, then it's not fun for you if it happens a bunch of times.
The amount of times I had to worry about, like somebody hitting the ball, I would sprint up. I would be about halfway before like the ball even like had touched the ground. It felt like I had to like get over there. It felt like the Flash at times,
Right, and then in the moment, if you're running too fast and you have too much forward momentum, then you have to try to throw the ball to the net. You're like, okay, now I have to like shortstop this thing over to the net, type of deal, right?
Brutal.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of all the points I wanted to bring up, but appreciate you bringing that up because I think your knowledge is a good asset for a lot of people who are listening to this, and especially for somebody who is still coming up in the wiffle ball world as yourself. I mean, you're definitely better than me, for sure. So it's good because now I can learn from that, even though I haven't been around it as long as you, obviously.
Thank you.
You may take it away, Steven, wherever you want to go with this.
Okay, I mean, I feel like I'm about good personally. It's been great. It's been great to have you on. Appreciate you taking the time out of your day, taking out especially with you being in Missouri, just taking your time to come talk with us a little bit. And like I said, I didn't know there was. We just kind of just do this for fun, just kind of have a chance for me and Justin be able to talk more and things like that. And then I didn't even know a lot of these some of the Arizona guys had started listening to this and things like that. So We appreciate you having you on. Hopefully, we had talked about it a little bit. Hopefully, at some point we could be able to maybe make something work where maybe you can join the LA Wolves of OC for a tournament or something like that, or it's the SoCal stuff because I think actually maybe you remember that we had actually I actually brought it up as a possibility for you to come play with us at US this year, but I believe you were unable to for this past 2024 year. I brought you up as a name to see because we were trying to find a fifth, but we'll see if we can make that happen. Something like that happen in the future. I mean, obviously you guys have your BLW group, which is great, but we'll see what happens. Should be a I could see a lot going forward for you. I think I think got a lot of potential, especially being 20 years old, and we wish you all the best.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. Anytime, really. I mean, I'm open. I'm down to do this anytime. And for you, Steven, like at some point, I'm definitely down. I mean, if there's any wiffle ball that you know of that I can make it to, I'm down, 100%.
Sounds good. I will keep you in the loop, and we can see if we can make that happen. That would be great to see. Justin, you got anything else to add on?
Really a great pleasure to have you on here. Great to meet you for the first time too. I know we haven't met in person, but I'm sure we will. I'm gonna follow your personal wiffle ball account because that's where I kind of saw some of your pitches. I was like, whoa, this guy's actually pretty good. Damn. Okay. So really appreciate you having you out here. I don't know if you're like in the process of moving to Missouri, if that's already happened, type of deal.
No, so that'll be happening this summer, so there's still plenty of time for sure.
Okay, for sure then. Okay, then whenever that happens or before then we'll figure that out then. But yeah, appreciate you having it on here.
Yeah, thanks guys.
Alrighty, thank you, Brody, for coming on. We appreciate you coming on to talk to us. Especially if this is your really first chance like really talking to him, Justin. So good to be able to get him on. I was able to talk to him more at this year through the tournaments and things like that. So always a great guy. I think he's got a lot of potential, and we'll see what the Wiffle World has got for him. Obviously, he just came off a great tournament the past one. So we'll see how they do in Dallas and how all the teams do in Dallas. We talked about a little with all those 4 teams going there. You have the Pandas, the Naturals, the Thrashers, and the Phoenix going out there. So good luck to all 4 of those teams going out there to play December 14th at AT&T Stadium. So about just under 2 weeks away.
It's a nice location.
And not a bad place to play some wiffle ball. Obviously, we just saw the MLW World Series take place there a little bit ago. Just before I talk about it, you did you watch that? Did you see the result or no?
Yes, I did.
Okay, I didn't want to spoil anything for you in case you hadn't, but this first Arizona tournament, I did get the chance to play with Dallas Allen, and he ended up being the World Series MVP in that sweep. So congratulations to him. Congratulations to the Eagles as well. So that one's able to finish up. Now BLW gets their chance in AT&T Stadium to do what they do. So should be very fun. Should be good to see what happens. And but for now, obviously. I didn't mention a Blue Giants or a SoCal team in there going to Dallas, unfortunately. So let's get into that. Let's get into that a little bit for this last run. So I'll just kick it off here because obviously as the I did go to participate with the. sorry. Yeah,
like, I don't know. Like y'all went to Arizona. Like, hey, they went to Arizona. Cool.
Oh man, yeah. So the very first of this Blue Giants team has had a team out there for the whole year with guys like Tommy Hernandez, Brian Owens, and Gabe out there. With that team, for this last tournament, going into this, I thought I was just going to go out to 1 and be done, but I kind of made the decision after that first one. I was like, I was thinking about it. I was like, I'd be interested to go play with the Blue Giants and see if I can help them get to Dallas and things like that, which we like guys like me and Dustin were allowed to. So we ended up having a group. It was Tommy Hernandez, Brian Owens, Kenan Rabbit, who was on the original roster, but hadn't gone any of them yet. And then you had the 3 California guys from the SoCal team the first time. You had Dustin, you had myself, and you had Braden Eberhardt go out there to participate with the Blue Giants for this tournament, see if we can make a push to Dallas and things like that. There ended up being 2 pool play games. We ended up going 1-1. Our first game was versus the Saguaros, who we talked about with Brody, who he managed to keep scoreless for 6 innings. They beat us in a 3-2 game. It was Dustin versus Will Marshall pitching on the mound. Tom and I each had it was a game of a lot of solo homers, which I'll kind of get into as I turn some lights on here because it's getting a little dark in here. These fields were much different than like what you would see in Upland, Justin. Like you have your infield line, and then for our field, it was probably about 20 feet back was where the fence was actually. So it was a very small field we were on the whole day, which I found out later. Which ours was the smallest field by about 15 feet compared to the other 3 fields, which I'll get into a little later because unfortunately it cost us because that pool play game. You know, if it were on a bigger field, I would have probably been like a 1-1 game. You know, pretty much if you just hit a pop up, it was going to be a home run and things like that. But they end up, I believe, Will and Paul Marshall both had a homer, as well as Nick Martinez for the Saguaros. And then Tommy and I each had a home run each to end things 3-2 in the loss. Second game, we played the Scorpions, which we won that one relatively handily. Don't need to get into that one too much. So we end up being the 5 seed out of 8 going into pool play, which we were almost higher, but we unfortunately get matched up against the Saguaros / the Cajuns again. They were the 4 seeds, so that had to be our 4-5 matchup, and then of course whoever won that matchup had to go face the Naturals with their loaded team, which I don't know if you fully know that team or not, but it's Logan Christie's team. He's got Logan Christie, Jordan Robles, Mike Whitty, who was touching 106 in September. You had Jackson Pearson, Connor Jaso, who's touched 103, and Trevor Bauer. So that was just that. It was an absolutely loaded team that we would have had to play next had we made it. It was so for our quarterfinal game. It was me on the mound for Blue Giants, and it was Cooper Ruckle out there for the Saguaros, who was been a previous National Pitcher of the Year. Just probably, I think I was sitting like 90-94 during our game, and has made it to the final 8 multiple times with the Canes, which is the team that goes out there. Which actually he and Randy Dalby teamed up the previous year, and they made it to the final 8. So I was just a very good pitcher in general. He pitched extremely well through 4 scoreless innings. I pitched pretty well as well, I'd say. Only damage that was done was a Andrew Leday home run, which, you know, if just from where I was, you know, if it were on any other field, it would have been. It might have not been a home run, but at the end of the day, we were all in the same field. You know, we could have had a chance, and we just hit a pop up. But unfortunately, it was not the case. But I believe he got on base twice. I believe he walked, but then every other batter I faced actually got outs. I think I only faced 11 batters and got 9 outs. I think with like 5 or 6 strikeouts. So I did pitch pretty well. Just the one. It was a 3-2 pitch, and it just went over the fence. So it is what it is. We lose in a tough fashion. I believe Tommy had a double versus Cooper Ruckle in the first inning. Other than that, we couldn't get any offense going. Just things like that. So if it is what it is. That's how the run for the SoCal / Blue Giants ends. Tough way to go out, but you know, overall it was a great game. It was some great competition to go up against some top level pitchers like that. I mean, both Will Marshall and Cooper Ruckle have pitched in the final 8 before. Will Marshall just pitching this year with the core of the Cajuns was a final 18 this year. So very tough matchup. Glad to, you know, me personally, glad to do pretty well versus them pitching. And overall, we did good as a team. Just not quite enough to get over the hump. Just losing both games by 1 run was tough.
Yeah, I mean, when you're playing against a stacked team like that, it's not exactly the easiest thing to do, especially the amount of talent that's at a tournament like that. First of all, like, ugh.
Yeah, I would have loved the chance to go pitch against the Naturals, and because I was pretty much just going to pitch the rest of the way. I would have loved the chance to go pitch against them and things like that. But you know what it is. What it is. We move on. It kind of ends the fast pitch year for me, which I'm not the most upset about. I've had a long year with a lot of throwing, dealing with a lot of knick-knack injuries. Which we'll get into more everything. We're going to do one more episode for this year. Do like a recap episode of everything. But I didn't pitch at the first tournament because I was dealing with my shoulder. This time my shoulder was feeling. It's still not 100% healed, but it's feeling better. So I was able to pitch, and actually I felt good. I could have gone a lot longer than 3 innings, but unfortunately we did not score any runs, and you have to score at least 1 run in order to win a game, and we were not able to do that. So. It is what it is. Tough weekend for us. Not a whole lot of offenses outside of that Scorpions game, but just some tough pitching, but some good competition. It was a fun day out there, being able to talk to everyone again.
I'm sure it is, especially when you get together with people like that, and then going out to Arizona, and even if you get a chance to compete for a chance to go to AT&T Stadium is still pretty cool, regardless.
Yeah.
We are talking to a guy who's going to be going to AT&T Stadium, which is pretty cool in itself. So, yeah, not much to be mad about. Pretty good way to end a good Arizona trip.
Yeah, exactly. My thought process was, I wonder if we had that same SoCal roster for the first time. I wonder how we would have done the standings, but we weren't considered an official team. So, I guess we'll never know. So it was fun to be able to keep playing this after US and stuff like that, and be able to give my arm a little bit of a break. I got 1 more week of baseball before I get a full break, and before I try to fully heal this shoulder and things like that. So let the elbow rest and make sure the body doesn't fall apart in the meantime.
Isn't that the goal? Is to not let the body fall apart, especially at this age.
Yep.
Right?
We're not that. I know. I was joking earlier about the 2026, but it's like, dang, I'm not that old.
I know, but like it's funny because like now everyone's like starting to joke about like, oh, my back problems and all my leg problems. Like, oh, don't bring that up, please. We're not that old, Jesus.
Yeah,
we're not there yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we still got enough in the tank to at least run through like 5 more years, probably even more actually, because there are guys who can still play like even up into their like late 40s. Like I'm sure we can name a few people who still play in their late 40s, right?
That's the goal. That's the goal. Is at least get to 40. That's the goal for me. If I can get to 40 and still be a competitive pitcher, man, I'll be very happy.
There you go. That's the way to.
If I can be in that like that Steve Trippis role, that would be great. That would be great for me. That's the dream. That's the dream right there. To be able to chuck high 80s and just hit absolute nukes like that. That would be lovely.
There you go. That's the right spirit to think about it.
Yep. Go for it.
Well, I guess we're pretty much done with the Arizona stuff, obviously. But you mentioned that we're gonna have one last episode before the end of the year to do. Talk about kind of the recap like we did last year, and just talking about like what we thought about wiffle ball and maybe some of the expectations for the year after type of thing. The one big news that was brought up earlier in the week was the SoCal Winter Classic that was unfortunately postponed. I don't know if it's going to be a different date, whichever. Obviously, you're the guy who's kind of in line with SoCal, so you know what's happening. You're the guy. You're the guy who makes the post. So, well, like, what's going on with that? Like, well, what are we talking about? We heard there's a rumor that it might be pushed to a summertime now.
Yeah, so there's going to be originally it was scheduled for January 4th and 5th. There's going to be 2 tournaments happening at the same time: a fast pitch tournament and also a SoCal Rules tournament. And we're looking to try to get a bunch of out of state guys for that, especially for that fast pitch tournament. But as it turns out, actually, a good number of guys that would have probably come here are actually going to Texas. It's the next week. It's the week of the 11th and 12th that weekend. where MLW is having their Texas Rumble tournaments in the Ranger Stadium for a day. So a lot of people that would have probably come here have committed to that, and it's one of those, they don't it's a lot of money to be able to travel out to do these trips and things like that, and doing 2 in a row like that, it would have it was too much for some teams. So some teams made the commitment to a lot of people made the commitment to go to Texas, and so the numbers weren't looking great. And then also just recently, I guess Dustin is going to have some family obligations, helping his family member move somewhere for college. So he's not. So just found out recently he's not going to be around anyway. So it looks like neither tournament will be happening at that time, which I'm bummed about. That's how we first got involved with SoCal football, was through the Winter Classic back in 2022. With you, me, Jordan, Ben, and Dylan. That was a fun tournament, but
in the rain.
Yeah, you sliding down the mud and everything. Dylan making some miraculous diving catches, and me pitching and landing in an ankle with my ankle covered in mud and water.
Mm-hmm.
It was a mess, but it was what it was. It is what it is right now. It was fun. We'll be able to look out for sometime like early summer for like a SoCal Summer Classic for a big tournament and things like that. I'll try to see if we can get it at a bigger location. Maybe somewhere not just the not just that Hermosa Drive Park in Fullerton. So we'll see what the possibilities are.
Definitely will be. See what those possibilities are going to be sitting at, because obviously it's this is kind of like the tradition now with the Winter Classic, because there's not a lot of tournaments during this winter time. It's supposed to be more like, hey, we're closing down the shop, like we're ending the season, like wiffle ball is kind of wrapping up type of thing. So there's nothing wrong with that, as long as it's, we're still got it going on. And maybe we can start our own tournament. Who knows? Exhibition. I don't know. Be kind of funny.
You want a little Wiffles tournament?
There you go. Yeah, a little inner squad type of thing, right?
There you go.
Yeah. What else do we need to talk about? Mostly like OC football stuff, right?
Yeah, we can go on that a little bit.
Okay. Well, right now things are a little bit interesting. We're just on the cusp of when there's supposed to be a break with the league. So I think the 17th, the 23rd, no, 23rd.
It's like the 17th. It's the 17th through the rest of the year is off.
Up until the 31st, and then we're right back into it. And then the 4th.
The 7th is the first day.
Yeah.
The first. Sorry, excuse me. The first league day back, with the All-Star game being on that 4th.
Yeah. So hey, we can go play that now without the SoCal Winter Classic in the way, type of deal.
That is true.
Yeah. I was absent 1 week, which was actually this Thanksgiving break. Went to go catch up with some people I haven't seen in a while. So sent my brother out there. Tommy Hernandez actually made an appearance in the Tuesday games. You guys won both of those games, which is pretty cool. My brothers told me otherwise. They said we lost them. I was like, okay, why would you tell me you lost them if you guys actually won? Whatever, I guess. But interesting, we're sitting at the very top of the leaderboard as we're speaking right now, which is, I guess that's a good thing. We haven't been up there in a while.
Yeah, we have not been up there in a little while. We're currently sitting there at 5-1. So it's we've had a good start. Only losses to the plastic pitches in the game we probably should have won, to be honest, but. We're off to a good start. Had a close game versus Beach City this week, a little 3-2 win. But we're just out there, we're just enjoying and having some fun.
There you go. Yeah, but that's what we're doing. We're just trying to have some fun. It's good because, there was a while where like things weren't really super competitive in the league and everything, and now it's like we've been talking about this for a while. The league kind of getting back to those roots where it was like competitive teams. It seems like it's starting to settle in a little bit. The most surprising thing so far to me, and I don't know if this is the same for you, but the Transplant is kind of there in that 4th seed right now. I thought it'd be maybe the Panda's like right at the top still. The plastic pitchers would be at the very top, and then like us in the Beach City would be like somewhere at that like lower spot. But I think obviously having Jordan's is a big thing. That's a big deal, obviously. Him being able to pitch just like we did in the good old days of OSU football back in the 2023s when we were like the Chicago Bulls in the 90s, just winning games here and day out, getting championships type of thing. It's also fun to have the kind of that reminiscing with the plastic pitchers who are back with their guys, and obviously they're stacked and broken, ridiculous team. I guess they took a loss this Tuesday, so that's nice. That's why we're standing up there in the front right now, obviously.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they had a bye this past week, and then they I believe Beach City got them good the previous week. It's good to see. There's not going to be an undefeated team. Obviously, you see some teams lose to teams and then beat other teams, and see just all that and just the balance and things like that. But there's always just a lot of good players out here, and we'll see what happens as we continue on and things like that. It seems like some of the pitching is back to being dominant. Last year I was the only person that had under like a 4 ERA. Meanwhile, we have multiple guys out here that have below a 2 ERA. Dylan Hoffman has a sub 2 ERA. I've got a sub 2 ERA. Tyler Moore's got a sub 2 ERA. So even Ryan Swanson has got a sub 2 ERA with 9 innings pitched. So we'll see what happens. It seems that pitching is kind of coming back. The hitting numbers are down a bit. I think the person with the highest batting average, with a significant number of bats, is probably someone like a Ryan Swanson or maybe me. In terms of actual number, I think in terms of like with a lot of at bats, because the Trash Pandas haven't played. They've only played 3 games with some breaks in the World Series and all of that. But I don't think there's not really a whole lot of people that have above a 500 average. I'm not counting you, Drake. You have a 545 average, but you only have 15 at bats, so I'm not counting you.
Fair enough.
So not that Drake listens to this, I just want to make sure he knows. Just want to put it out there for the record.
We used to we talk a lot of dirt on that guy a lot. So
yeah, it's always fun to have some fun with your college coaches and guys that we've played with for a long time.
Yeah, you get to play against your guys because they're coaching you obviously, and then they have to give you those hard workouts, and you're like, you know what, I'm gonna get them back in the football. There you go.
Yeah, Drake's not winning that Fall Ball World Series. I'll put that out there right now.
You're gonna have to tell me how that works later, because I saw that and I was like, what in the world is this? Yeah. I can do it a little bit right now if we want to have some filler time. Okay, all right. Let's do it on the podcast.
So obviously, as you can see by the shirt, I'm a little fat right now because of Thanksgiving, but I'm fat anyways. But we get my Westcliff baseball. So we have quite a big roster. We have a lot of guys. So we decided for our Fall World Series, we divided up into 4 teams. 4 coaches drafted, and we all got put in our teams recently. And then this week we're going to do. I think like Monday we have like a team, like a practice with a team, like a 2-hour practice and stuff. And then Tuesday, Wednesday they're doing inter squads to determine. They're doing games against each other to determine seeding. And then Thursday night will be played at the Great Park Stadium, where the 3rd and 4th place, based off your pool play stuff, your 3rd and 4th place will play at 3:00, and then 1st and 2nd will play at 7.
I see. Interesting. And this is just like what, like an inter-squad type of thing? Is that what this is? Yeah.
Just end of the year type thing. Have some internal competition and get some game time reps and be ready, because it's our last week of practice before we head into our winter break, and then spring's going to be around the corner.
Damn, it's already that time of year, huh?
It's almost the end of the year. We're almost in December. We've almost made it through this whole year.
I don't like it. I really don't. It's like now we're getting back, because then as soon as that happens and the March comes around, it's like, oh, now I'm gonna be 26. Like, yeah, okay, never mind. We're talking about old people here. Anyways,
you'll be 27, man. You're old.
What do you mean? I'm 25 right now, brother. don't give me that. Don't give me that. I don't want to be 27 yet.
I'm just playing. I'm just playing. Oh, man.
I'm gonna have a quarter life crisis by the time that happens.
Mine already happened. That's why I'm playing wiffle ball.
Oh, there you go. But yeah, so stick around with us. We still got one more podcast to do at the end of the year. A little recap for everybody. I don't know when that will be, but probably somewhere in December.
That makes sense because this podcast will probably come out in December.
Yeah. Wait, what?
Well, I mean, unless you got the skills to be able to put this up today, because tomorrow's December 1st, buddy. As we're recording this, it's November 30th.
That's right. I meant to say.
If you put this out today, fair play.
Maybe I will. We'll see what everybody thinks.
If you do, fair play. I got nothing wrong with that.
All right. Other than that, I don't really have other stuff to mention at the moment, unless you do. Besides that,
I'm good.
Okay. All right. Well, whenever this decides to come out, happy Thanksgiving. I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving, obviously. And best time of the year right now is Christmas. But right now is the off season, so hopefully everyone is able to take care. Once again, thank you to Brody Livingston for being here on the show. Kind of one of those few firsts that we're going to have with the podcast and everything, with the outer audience. Now we're interstate audience, so appreciate everybody who's in California and Arizona who's watching this, and anybody else who decides to watch in the other parts of the country. Maybe hit us up. That'd be cool. If you're a wiffle ball person, maybe we hit you up too. But Steven's got the connections. We'll see what other people he decides to get on here at some point. Who knows? Then maybe Dallas and Lynn. Anyways. I'm just saying, like, it'd be really cool.
You little weirdo.
It'd be really cool if we get that Dallas Allen guy in here. I don't know.
If you're still listening at this point, like, what's wrong with you?
I know.
You're still here on the podcast.
Why
at this
are you
point. What's
listening
wrong?
to these two nerds, this Asian, this other guy sitting at the other side? Anyways, we'll see you guys in episode 54 or 57. Wow. Senior moment. We'll see you guys in episode 57. Take care and have a good day.